Hey guys, welcome back to What Would You Do If an HOA President Tried to Force You Off Land your family had owned for decades, then kept calling the cops on you, until one mistake completely destroyed her own life? Yeah, that actually happened, and I'm still not sure what part of it is crazier, the harassment, or how it all ended. So let me back up a little. I spent 28 years as a firefighter. Not desk work. Real, frontline, middle of the night, pulling people out of burning houses kind of work. I've seen panic, I've seen bad decisions, I've seen people double down when they should have walked away. You know what I mean? So when I finally retired, I wasn't looking for drama. I wanted quiet, something steady, something real. That's how I ended up back on my family's land. 3 acres just outside town. Nothing flashy. Small ranch house, an old barn I rebuilt with my own hands, and 4 horses. My grandfather bought that land back in the 70s when the whole area was just fields and sky. My dad kept it going, and when it passed down to me, it felt like I was stepping into something bigger than just ownership. It was legacy. For a couple years, it was exactly what I needed. Mornings with coffee on the porch, watching the horses graze. No sirens, no chaos, just peace. Then the neighborhood showed up. Big houses, perfect lawns, and of course, an HOA. At first, it didn't bother me. They were a few hundred yards away, separated by a tree line. I figured we'd just stay out of each other's business. Yeah, that was wishful thinking. Her name was Susan. First time I met her, I was fixing a fence post. Dust on my jeans, sweat running down my back, when I hear this voice behind me, sharp like she already had a problem before she even spoke. "Excuse me, are you the property owner?" I turn around, and she's standing there like she belongs. Phone in hand, scanning my land like she's inspecting a crime scene. I said, "Yeah, that's me. What can I do for you?" She introduces herself as the HOA president, and within seconds she's talking about concerns. Complaints from residents, smells, flies, visual impact. Said my horses were affecting property values. I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. I told her straight, this land's been here longer than her entire development. I'm not part of her HOA, and I'm not moving anything. That smile she had? Gone instantly. She just says, "We'll see about that," and walks off. And right there, I should have known it wasn't over. At first, it was just letters, HOA warnings about violations that didn't apply to me. I tossed them. Not my HOA, not my problem. Then the county showed up. Someone reported I was running an illegal horse business. Inspector walks around, checks everything, then looks at me like, "Seriously?" Tells me I'm fully compliant and leaves. A week later, animal control. Claim, I'm neglecting my horses. The officer takes one look. Healthy animals, clean stalls, and literally shakes his head. "Somebody's got an issue with you." Then the health department. Then more complaints. Different angles, same story, everything legal, everything fine. And every single time, I knew it was her. But Susan, she wasn't slowing down. She was escalating. Next thing I know, I'm getting letters from a lawyer. Threats about lawsuits, nuisance claims, property value damage. That's when I finally hired my own attorney. He sent one response back, calm, professional, basically saying they had zero authority over me. That should have been the end. But people like Susan don't stop when they're wrong. They dig deeper. One afternoon, I catch her at my fence line, snapping pictures like she's building a case. I walk over, ask what she's doing. She says, "Documenting violations." I look around, mud. Sure, it rained the night before. I tell her she's trespassing. She fires back, says it's public land. I point at the fence. "Everything on this side is mine. You need to leave. She just stares at me. Pure anger. Then storms off. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's the peak.
Yeah, no.
Couple days later, I'm on my porch, coffee in hand, watching the horses, and I see flashing lights coming up my driveway. 2 patrol cars. My first thought? Something bad happened. But no. Susan called them. Said there were dangerous animals, unsafe structures. Yeah, that happened. The officers walk up, polite but clearly confused. Ask a few questions, look around, and I can already tell they're not seeing anything that matches the report. False report. Again. I explain everything, offer to show paperwork. They wave it off. They've seen enough. And then, perfect timing, Susan shows up. She pulls in fast, jumps out, already talking, pointing, listing complaints, acting like she's about to win a case in court. Claims my horses are dangerous, my barn's a fire hazard, that I've been running some illegal operation for months. The officer cuts her off. Calm but firm. Ma'am, we've inspected the property. There are no violations. She freezes, then starts arguing. Says she has photos, statements, proof. That's when the older officer steps in, and everything shifts. This is the 4th false report you filed, he says. That's a crime, and you could actually see it hit her. Like the moment everything she'd been doing finally caught up. She tries to backpedal, says she's protecting the community. And the officer just looks at her and goes, "By lying to the police?" Silence. Real silence. Then he tells her, "Stop calling, stop harassing, or next time it won't be a warning." She looks at me like she wants me gone from existence. Mutters, "This isn't over," and drives off. After that, everything went quiet. No letters. No complaints. No inspectors. Just peace again. And I figured that was the end of it. But here's where it turns. Because while she was busy trying to prove I was some kind of safety hazard, she had her own project going on. The HOA had just built a brand new clubhouse, pool, gym, event space. The whole thing. And guess who was in charge? Susan. Now I didn't think much of it. Until I mentioned it one night to an old friend, guy I went through the fire academy with. He's a fire marshal now. When I told him the neighborhood name, he paused, then said, "I've got that place scheduled for inspection." Didn't seem like a big deal. Until a few weeks later. My neighbor Steve, one of the only reasonable people over there, comes jogging over out of breath, grinning like he just watched something unbelievable. "Man, you need to hear this." Turns out the inspection happened. And it wasn't just bad. It was a disaster. Emergency exits not up to code. Fire suppression system installed wrong. Electrical work not permitted. Occupancy limits way beyond safe levels. And that was just the start. The clubhouse got shut down immediately. Repair estimates? Somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000. And here's the part that really lands. Susan signed off on everything. She approved the contractor, someone connected to her family.
Skipat prupe inspections.
Cut corners. All while spending months trying to prove I was unsafe. Yeah. Let that sink in. The HOA went into full meltdown mode. Emergency meetings, angry residents, people demanding answers. Insurance refused to cover the damages because procedures weren't followed. So every homeowner got hit with a bill, about $800 each, and everyone knew exactly who caused it. Susan. From what I heard, people weren't exactly friendly after that. Nothing crazy, but the kind of pressure that follows you everywhere. Grocery store, gas station, conversations stop when you walk in. She tried to defend herself, said the violations were minor. They weren't. Some of them could have gotten people killed. About a month later, she resigned. Personal reasons. Yeah, sure. Last I heard, she was trying to sell her house, probably hoping for a clean slate somewhere no one knows her name. And me? I went back to my routine. Mornings on the porch, coffee in hand, horses grazing like nothing ever happened. Same land, same peace. And the funny thing is, I never had to get revenge. I didn't escalate, didn't fight dirty. I just stood my ground. And somehow, that was enough. Because in the end, she did more damage to herself than I ever could have. Now I gotta ask you, if someone pushed you like that, tried to control something that was never theirs to begin with,